Hey everybody, I'm Dan McClellan. I'm a scholar of the Bible and religion. The fit for this video is Bizarro. Let's take a look at a video.
Do you want to know why the Ethiopian Bible has 88 books compared to the Holy Bible's 66 books? Buckle up, because this was one of my favorite things to learn when researching biblical history.
Alright, let's see it.
First of all, the Holy Bible that is everywhere now in multiple different translations was assembled by the Catholic Church, which has been corrupted since the beginning.
So a couple of things here. First, this is some pretty naive anti-Catholic sectarianism. There are plenty of grounds on which to criticize the Catholic Church, but dismissing them as wholly corrupted from the start, as if there is some alternative human institution that is entirely free from corruption, is nonsense. And additionally, if we're talking about a Holy Bible of 66 books, we're not talking about a Catholic Bible. We're talking about a post-19th century Protestant Bible. The Catholic Bible has always included the 14 additional texts that we know of as the Apocrypha, scattered throughout their editions of the Old Testament. And the first Protestant Bibles also included the Apocrypha, although they gather them together and publish them as a separate section. In the 19th century, printers began to omit the Apocrypha from their standard editions of the Bible, and by the time we get to the 20th century, Protestantism has left the Apocrypha behind. So when we talk about 66 books, that is a post-19th century Protestant Bible, not a Catholic Bible.
That's not even the interesting part about all this. What makes Ethiopia so special that they would have their own version of the Bible that would be more complete and more accurate than the one the rest of the world uses?
So the biblical canon of the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church developed in the early to mid-4th century CE when some Syrian missionaries came south to what was then known as the Kingdom of Aksum and introduced Christianity into the kingdom's royal household. And they brought with them a rather expansive set of Septuagint manuscripts, so ancient Greek translations of the Hebrew Bible and Greek versions of the New Testament. And in the late 4th and into the 5th centuries CE, further up north, you had a bunch of canon debates that were raging that resulted in the various canons that were established, while the Kingdom of Aksum was content to just carry on with what was originally brought down to them, and some additional books were actually added to that canon. And so the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church has the largest, the most expansive canon of any Christian community in the world. But to say that it is more accurate or more complete is a value judgment that doesn't really fit how the concept of canon developed, how the canons themselves developed, and it would also be inaccurate from a text-critical point of view. The Septuagint manuscripts are not the most accurate in the world. And additionally, the earliest manuscripts we have of the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church's Old Testament are medieval, so they're from many centuries after those original manuscripts were brought south. There are some manuscripts, the Garima Gospels, that date to between the 4th and the 6th centuries CE that are very early witnesses to the Ethiopian versions of the Gospels, but from a text-critical point of view, they are also not more valuable than the New Testament manuscripts in Greek that we have from other parts of the world.
Now, Christians who read the Bible don't get a clear answer to this, but there is almost an Easter egg in Scripture that'll point us in the right direction. In the Book of Kings and Chronicles, we see a character named the Queen of Sheba. Sheba was a kingdom that was around in biblical times that stretched through parts of Africa and Arabia, modern-day Ethiopia.
Most historians these days would identify the kingdom of Sheba, if it is historical, with the South Arabian kingdom of Saba, and I think it's unlikely that the Queen of Sheba was a historical figure.
Now, the Bible tells us that the Queen of Sheba came to visit King Solomon to test his wisdom. She stayed for a time, and then when she left, Solomon gave her whatever she asked.
And these are legends that are not historical.
What the Bible doesn't share is that the Queen of Sheba actually had a child with Solomon, a son. This son and heir set up the Solomonic dynasty in Ethiopia. That entire region was introduced to the Hebrew God, the texts, and their faith, their religion, was established outside of Catholic control.
This tradition comes from a text known as the Kebra Nagast, which was probably composed either in Coptic or Arabic in the early 14th century CE, although it contains some traditions that historians think may go back to maybe the 5th or 6th centuries CE. The traditions related to the Queen of Sheba and Solomon, however, are not historical.
What is absolutely insane is that the Solomonic dynasty reigned in Ethiopia until 1974. 1974.
That is not historically accurate.
The Holy Bible that we have created by the Catholic Church was absolutely corrupted by the pagan influence of the Catholic Church. It was to control the information that people have access to. I promise you, the Ethiopian Bible is way more accurate and complete. It has so much valuable information.
The Ethiopic Bible manuscripts are of inestimable historical value, both for these traditions as they existed within Ethiopia, their reception, their development, the textual development of these traditions. Our earliest complete copies of the book of First Enoch are all Ethiopic manuscripts, but the notion that it is more complete or more accurate than all other manuscripts or biblical canons is a value judgment that is not supported by the data.